My name is Dr. Liam O'Connell, and for the last 10 years, my life's work has been dedicated to a single, radical idea, that cities should breathe. I have a doctorate in sustainable architectural design and 2 master's degrees in civil engineering and botany. Right now, I'm watching the man who stole my life's work, my own brother, receive a global award for it, while his fraudulent empire is, at this very moment, imploding hundreds of miles away. I'm standing in the wings of the main auditorium. At the Global Urban Design and Innovation Summit in Geneva, trying to appear calm as my brother, Ethan O'Connell, flashes his $1 million smile at the crowd. His charcoal grey suit is tailored to perfection, his hair has that expensive, artfully messy look, and his voice booms with rehearsed charisma as he accepts the Developer of the Year award. On the massive screen behind him are renderings of the Phoenix Towers, a massive, gleaming redevelopment project he built. A project built on a foundation of my stolen dreams and his cynical lies. The Phoenix Towers aren't just buildings, Ethan declares, his arms spread wide. They are a new paradigm for urban living, a self-contained luxury ecosystem powered by our proprietary smart grid technology, offering residents a truly sustainable, carbon-neutral lifestyle. Those are my concepts. That's my research he's butchering with corporate buzzwords. That's the core of my doctoral thesis. Adaptive, eco-responsive, integrated. Architecture or area twisted into a soulless caricature. Yet my name is nowhere. In the story of the Phoenix Towers, I am a ghost. I glance at the front row, where our father, Thomas O'Connell, founder of O'Connell & Sons Architecture, is beaming, tears of pride in his eyes. He sees Ethan, the golden son, the rainmaker. He never saw me, the quiet academic, the dreamer. The family firm, our shared legacy, now belongs to the son who could sell the vision, not the one who actually created it. But I know something they don't. I know the truth about the Phoenix Towers. I know the fatal flaw lurking beneath the polished chrome and recycled bamboo flooring. And as the master of ceremonies prepares for the next speaker, I check the live news feed on my phone. A record-breaking heatwave is currently suffocating my old hometown of Chicago. The city's power grid is strained to its breaking point, and the Phoenix Towers, with their so-called smart grid, are about to learn a very hard lesson about integrity. I should feel a pang of guilt. I should feel obligated to warn someone, but as I watch my brother lift the heavy glass award, basking in the applause for a vision he never understood, I feel nothing but a cold, crystalline certainty. 18 years of my life, from my first childhood sketch to my final doctoral defense, went into the area concept. And in less than a year, my brother and father had stolen it, gutted it, and left me for dead. So no, I'm not going to stop what's oncoming. I'm going to wait for my cue. And then I'm going to walk onto this very stage and show the world the difference between a pretty lie and a living, breathing truth. I wasn't always this hardened. 5 years ago, I was just an idealistic architect, the black sheep of the O'Connell clan. Our family firm, O'Connell & Sons, was a Chicago institution known for solid, respectable, and utterly conventional skyscrapers. My father, Thomas, was a man of steel and concrete. My older brother, Ethan, a man of contracts and handshakes. He had joined the firm not as an architect, but as a real estate developer, his talent lying in schmoozing city officials and seducing investors. I was the strange one. While they calculated load-bearing capacities and profit margins, I was studying how termite mounds in Namibia maintain constant internal temperatures. I was fascinated by biomimicry, the idea that nature had already solved our biggest engineering problems. My passion was for buildings that worked with the environment, not in spite of it. Buildings that collected their own water like a bromeliad, generated their own power like a leaf performing photosynthesis, and processed their own waste. My father called it tree-hugging nonsense. Ethan was more patronizing. "That's great, little brother," he'd say during family dinners, ruffling my hair. "You keep playing with your moss walls. Meanwhile, I just closed the deal on the new Harrison Tower. That's real architecture, Liam. That's the family business." The root of the injustice wasn't a single event, but a lifetime of dismissal. Every idea I proposed at the firm was shot down. My designs were impractical, not commercially viable, too academic. The final straw of my PhD was the area system, a complete holistic model for a self-sufficient urban block. It wasn't just about solar panels and green roofs. It was a deeply integrated system where the building's waste fed its vertical farms, where the airflow was passively cooled by its structural design, and where the community living within it was an active part of the ecosystem. It was complex, revolutionary, and I knew it was the most important work I would ever do. I presented it to my father and Ethan in the main conference room at O'Connell and Sons, hoping, foolishly, that a completed doctorate and a fully realized model would finally earn their respect. My father stared at my detailed schematics for a long time, his expression unreadable. "Liam," he finally said, his voice heavy with disappointment, "I paid for you to get a degree in architecture, not horticulture. This is a fantasy." Ethan, however, looked at my work with a different kind of gleam in his eye. He didn't see the science or the philosophy. He saw angles. "The self-sufficient part is interesting," he mused, picking up one of my renderings. "Luxury survivalism. The branding potential is huge. Smart grid living, eco-pods. High net worth individuals would pay a premium for that kind of security." "That's not the point, Ethan," I tried to explain. "It's not about luxury. It's about symbiosis. It's for everyone. It's designed to be scalable and affordable." He just laughed. "Nothing is for everyone, Liam. That's the first rule of business." I left the firm that day, not officially, but emotionally. I took a low-paying research fellowship at Northwestern University to continue refining my work, while still holding on to the hope that my family would eventually see the light. The catalyst, the point of no return, came a year later. Ethan called me, his voice slick with false camaraderie. He was pitching for the biggest urban renewal project in Chicago's history, the Phoenix Towers. He wanted to pick my brain. For 2 hours, I passionately explained the intricacies of the area system. I gave him my research, my data, my schematics. I thought I was helping my brother, helping the family firm finally do something meaningful. 2 months later, O'Connell and Sons won the contract. The City Hall announcement was a major media event, and there was Ethan on a podium next to the mayor, presenting his vision. He used my renderings, slightly altered. He used my terminology, twisted into marketing slogans. He described a revolutionary new form of luxury eco-living he had personally pioneered. There was no mention of me, my PhD, or the area system. He had taken my soul's work and put his name on it. I confronted them that night at the family home. The air was thick with the smell of my mother's roast chicken and my simmering fury. "How could you?" I asked Ethan, my voice shaking. "That was my work, my entire life's work." Ethan sipped his scotch, looking bored. "I took your little school project and made it a reality, Liam. You should be thanking me. The Phoenix Towers will be the crown jewel of this city. It will make this family legendary." I looked at my father. "You knew. You let him do this." My father, Thomas O'Connell, stood up, his face hardening into the mask of disapproval I knew so well. "He succeeded where you failed. He made it profitable. He made it buildable. You were content to leave it as a theory in a book. He had the guts to put steel in the ground. You've become a bitter, jealous academic, and frankly, I've had enough of it. If you can't support your brother, then there's the door." He disowned me, not just from the firm, but from the family. My mother just stood there, wringing her hands, whispering, Don't do this, Tom. Please, not now. That was the moment something inside me broke. Or maybe it was the moment something new was forged. I walked out of that house, out of Chicago, and never looked back. My journey of ascension began in ashes. I ended up in Viridia, Oregon, a city known for its progressive environmental policies and a stubborn communitarian spirit. For the first few months, I drifted. The betrayal had hollowed me out. I was a ghost haunting coffee shops, sketching impossible, buildings in a notebook I never showed anyone. My salvation came in the form of Dr. Anya Sharma, a legend in the world of sustainable design. She had retired to Viridia after a storied career at MIT. I audited one of her guest lectures at the local university. Afterwards, I summoned every ounce of courage I had left and approached her. I didn't tell her the whole story. I just showed her my work. I laid out the complete area schematics, the real ones, the ones with the soul still in them. She studied them for almost an hour in complete silence, her sharp eyes missing nothing. "This is not just a building," she said finally, looking up at me, her gaze piercing. "This is a new social contract. Where did you get this?" "I developed it," I mumbled. "It was my doctoral thesis. And what are you doing with it now?" "Nothing," I admitted. "A version of it, a compromised version, is being built in Chicago." Anya nodded slowly, a deep understanding in her eyes. "Ah, they took the body, but they left the spirit behind, yes?" She tapped the schematics for the integrated water recycling and geothermal exchange. "They took the flashy parts, the solar panels, the green roof, but I'll bet they left this, and this, the parts that require true integration, the parts that don't look good on a sales brochure, but do all the real work." She was right. It was as if she'd seen the ghost of my design. That day, Anya Sharma became my mentor, my champion. She saw what my own family never could. "Don't try to fight them for the credit, Liam," she advised me over endless cups of chai in her cluttered, book-filled home. "It's a fool's errand. Instead, you must prove them wrong. Build it right." But how? I had no money, no firm, no reputation. Anya introduced me to the Viridia Community Development Collective, a small, underfunded non-profit. They had recently acquired a derelict, 2-acre brownfield site in a neglected part of the city, a former warehouse district plagued by poverty and pollution. "We have no money," the director told me bluntly, "but we have people. We have will." And so began the Viridia Commons. For 2 years I lived and breathed that project. It was the hardest work of my life. I wasn't in a pristine office. I was on a muddy construction site, teaching community volunteers how to lay insulated foundation forms. I wasn't using corporate expense accounts. I was salvaging reclaimed materials and negotiating with local suppliers for discounts. I wasn't just an architect. I was a project manager, a grant writer, and a part-time plumber. We built the area system in its purest form, not as a luxury product, but as a community lifeline. We installed the geothermal wells, the rainwater harvesting cisterns, the closed-loop aquaponics systems in the shared central atrium. We used my biomimetic designs for passive heating and cooling, drastically reducing energy needs. The community planted the vertical farms, and slowly, painstakingly, the project came to life. It wasn't as tall or as flashy as the Phoenix Towers, but it was real. It was alive. Meanwhile, I kept a distant eye on Chicago. I saw the glossy magazine spreads about the Phoenix Towers. I read the fawning interviews with Ethan, the visionary of the new Chicago. He talked about his smart grid with such authority. But I knew its secret. I knew the flaw. In my original area design, every system was interdependent. Energy, water, waste. They were a closed loop. The system was designed for resilience with multiple redundancies, able to gracefully scale down or isolate failing components during a crisis. Ethan, in his rush for profit, had ripped out that deep integration. He kept the buzzwords, but replaced the core with a patchwork of off-the-shelf competing technologies from different vendors. His smart grid wasn't an ecosystem. It was a fragile house of cards. It would work fine under normal conditions, but under extreme stress, like a city-wide power surge during a record-breaking heat wave, the competing systems would send conflicting commands, creating a feedback loop that would lead to a total, cascading system failure. I never said a word. I just kept working, documenting every success at the Viridia Commons. We were generating a surplus of energy, recycling 95% of our water, and the atrium farms were producing fresh vegetables for the entire neighborhood. Dr. Sharma was documenting it all, preparing to publish the data. My revenge wasn't going to be a lawsuit, it was going to be a case study. Which brings me back to this moment in Geneva. The master of ceremonies is back at the podium. My brother is preening with his award. My father is wiping a tear from his eye. And now, the MC says, his voice echoing in the vast hall, it is my great honor to introduce our keynote speaker, a legend in her field, a true pioneer who has spent her life imagining a better way for us to live on this planet. Please welcome, from MIT and the Viridia Collective, Dr. Anya Sharma. Anya walks onto the stage to respectful, sustained applause. She looks small behind the large podium, but her presence is immense. She adjusts her microphone. "Thank you," she begins, her voice calm and clear. "Today, we've heard a lot about the future of urban design. We've seen beautiful renderings and heard inspiring slogans. But I am not here to talk about slogans. I am here to talk about results." Behind her, the screen that just showed Ethan's face now displays a picture of the Viridia Commons. Not a slick rendering, but a real photo, vibrant and teeming with life. Children are playing near a bioswale, residents attending to the vertical gardens in the sunlit atrium. "This is the Viridia Commons," Anya says, "built on a forgotten, polluted piece of land in Oregon, built with a budget that would barely cover the marketing for one of the projects we've seen celebrated today. For the next 20 minutes, she presents our project. But she doesn't present it as a feel-good story. She presents cold, hard, independently verified data, graphs showing net zero energy consumption even during peak winter months, water quality reports, air quality improvements, food production yields, the economic impact on the local community. The audience of architects, developers, and investors is silent, captivated. This isn't a fantasy, it's proof. I can see my brother from the wings. His smile is gone. He's leaning forward, whispering to my father, a look of confusion on his face. "The principles behind the commons are not new," Anya continues. "They are based on the concept of adaptive, eco-responsive, integrated architecture, or AERIA, a system that treats a building not as a machine, but as a living organism." Then comes the moment. As Anya speaks, my phone buzzes silently in my pocket. A news alert from the Chicago Tribune. Catastrophic failure at Phoenix Towers, city's newest landmark. Experiences mass blackouts, HVAC failure. Amidst record heat wave. I look up. Anya is looking toward the wings, directly at me. "But this data, this success, is not my story to claim," she says to the audience. "The credit belongs to the brilliant mind who conceived of the AERIA system and had the courage and tenacity to build it against all odds. It is my profound honor to introduce you to the true architect of our sustainable future. Please welcome Dr. Liam O'Connell." Time seems to slow down. As I walk out from the wings, the spotlight finds me. The applause is thunderous, a wave of sound that feels like a physical force. As I step onto the stage, I can see them. My father, his face ashen, looking as if he's seen a ghost. My brother Ethan, his face a mask of pure, unadulterated fury and disbelief. He's holding his phone, the same news alert I received glowing on his screen. The Developer of the Year award sits forgotten on the table in front of him. The world connects the dots in an instant. The triumphant case, study of a truly sustainable project and the catastrophic failure of its fraudulent copycat. The two O'Connell brothers on the same stage, representing two opposite fates. I reach the podium and shake Anya's hand. I look out at the crowd, at the thousands of faces, and I feel a profound sense of calm. I don't need to be angry. I don't need to shout. The truth is already doing its work. Thank you, Dr. Sharma, I say, my voice steady, and thank you all. What Dr. Sharma has shown you today is my life's work, but it is not about me. It is about an idea that integrity in design is not a luxury, but a necessity, that true sustainability cannot be a marketing slogan. It must be built into the very bones of the places we call home. The Viridia Commons is not a miracle. It is simply what happens when you respect the system, when you design with honesty. Thank you. I don't mention my family. I don't mention the Phoenix Towers. I don't have to. As I walk off the stage, the applause is deafening. My revenge is complete. It is not loud or destructive. It is quiet, constructive, and irrefutable. The aftermath was swift and brutal. The Phoenix Towers disaster became a national scandal. News outlets dug into the story, contrasting the tower's failure with the stunning success of the Viridia Commons presented on the same day. Investigative journalists uncovered the shortcuts Ethan had taken, the patchwork of incompatible systems he'd used. Lawsuits from residents and investors piled up. O'Connell and Sons, once a pillar of Chicago architecture, saw its reputation and its stock value evaporate. Ethan was fired in disgrace. The family firm was forced into bankruptcy within 6 months. My life went in the opposite direction. The Viridia Collective was flooded with grants, donations, and partnership offers from cities and foundations around the world. We became a global hub for truly sustainable design. I wasn't just building projects anymore. I was helping communities heal themselves, transforming neglected spaces into places of hope and resilience. About a year after the Geneva summit, I was back in Viridia, walking through the now mature commons. The trees had grown, and the atrium felt like a small forest. I saw a man sitting on a bench, looking old and frail. It took me a moment to recognize him. It was my father. He stood up as I approached. He wasn't the titan of industry I remembered. He was just a tired old man. In his hands, he held a worn, leather-bound sketchbook. My sketchbook from when I was a child. "I found this when we were clearing out the office," he said, his voice raspy. He handed it to me. I opened it to a drawing I'd made when I was 10. A city of twisting towers covered in plants, with flying vehicles zipping between them. "You were always dreaming of this," he said, his eyes filled with a lifetime of regret. I was a fool, Liam. I was a blind, arrogant fool. I measured success in tons of steel and dollars per square. Yvut, I looked at your work, and I couldn't see it. I couldn't see you. He finally broke down, the apology I had craved for years coming out in a choked sob. "Can you ever forgive me?" It wasn't a triumphant moment. It was just sad. We talked for hours. The reconciliation was slow, tentative. It wasn't about him welcoming me back. It was about me, cautiously, letting him into my world, a world built on principles he was only just beginning to understand. Ethan, I heard, never recovered. He bounced between jobs, forever blaming me, the world, anyone but himself. I never heard from him directly again. Today, as I stand on the balcony of a new community center in Baltimore, built on the Area model, I look down at the thriving green space below. I've won awards, my work is celebrated, but the real victory isn't the fall of my family's empire. The real victory is this. It's the laughter of children playing where a condemned factory once stood. It's the elderly couple picking fresh tomatoes from a community garden in December. My family's betrayal didn't destroy me. It liberated me. It forced me to stop seeking their approval and start serving the communities my work was always meant for. They didn't steal my future. They pushed me towards the one I was supposed to have all along. Success isn't about proving your enemies wrong. It's about building a world so right that they become irrelevant. And for that, in the strangest way imaginable, I'm grateful.